Coming up on today's show.
I can get to that note that I started, whether I started it on my phone, my computer, even somebody else's computer. As long as I can log in, I can get to it.
We might say, well, listen, I'm reading the email on my phone, and that email is on my phone, but it really isn't on your phone. It's on the cloud.
It has a very, very powerful internal search. And in fact, it does a search better than some computers do.
How to stay organized in the cloud, part 2, today on Keeping You Organized. Hello and welcome to Keeping You Organized. If you joined us last time, we were talking about how to get organized using the cloud to your advantage. In fact, in the last episode, we talked about what the cloud was and started talking about some of the applications you can use to help you get organized. And we are going to get back into that right now. And we're going to bring on Darla DeMoro from heartworkorg.com, Heartwork Organizing. Darla, welcome back to Keeping You Organized.
Thank you for having me.
On our last show, Darla, we started talking about different apps that you could use to take advantage of getting organized on the cloud or in the cloud, so to speak. So let's talk now a little bit about some more of those apps that you can use.
Well, the big draw, of course, to cloud services is that it allows you to have all of your data or all of the data that you choose, all of your important data, everywhere. So you don't have to wait until you get home to view your photos. You might be able to pick them up on your phone and show somebody, or you don't have to have things that are on your phone that you can't ever get off your phone. You know, you can trade them up to the cloud, store them for a minute, move them over to your computer. One of the things that I use my cloud services for, I happen to use Evernote for this one, is that I can start a shopping list for the store at my desk at work, and then when I'm in the Target store or wherever I am shopping, I don't know about you, John, but when I'm shopping, there's 5 things on my list, and I get into the store and I can only ever remember 3 of them.
What were those other 2? Yes.
What were those other 2? I cannot remember. Well, if I wrote it on a sticky note and I didn't bring the sticky note with me, or I have a shopping list at home but I'm stopping on the way home from work, I don't have that information with me. But now with the cloud, that information is actually staying on the computer that the company Evernote is maintaining. And I can get to that note that I started, whether I started it on my phone, my computer, even somebody else's computer. As long as I can log in, I can get to it.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people don't realize that they're using the cloud for things like Gmail and Hotmail and even like Google Calendar. These are all cloud-based applications. We might say, well, listen, I'm reading the email on my phone, and that email is on my phone, but it really isn't on your phone. It's on the cloud. So,
exactly.
So you talked about Evernote a little bit. Let's dig into Evernote a little bit more, because I know professional organizers really like this platform.
Love it.
What are some of the real common uses of Evernote? The go-to uses of it?
Right. So Evernote's a great place to put anything that you want to remember later. In fact, their tagline is "Remember everything." Their logo's a little elephant. Elephants are supposed to never forget. Yeah. And so Evernote's a great tool because unlike email, where really the only thing you can do with email is you can either store it or forward it, right?
Right.
But with Evernote, you can add to a note over and over and over again. You can add different things to it. So when I'm planning a trip, I may add in, I may take an email with my information about the flight and forward it into Evernote. But then I can add into that maybe a web address that somebody told me, a monument that I need to go and visit while I'm on this trip, or maybe snap a picture of a page of a book that has some information about what I want to do when I get there. Or I can even put a voice memo right in that same note. And when I get to my destination or when I'm traveling, I have all of that information with me. It's not trapped somewhere in my email, and God knows it's not lost in the email, right? Yeah. I can get right into Evernote. I can search for the details of my trip, and there they are.
Now, is there, just speaking of email, is there a way, like say you're in Microsoft Outlook and you want to, this is an important email, it's got maybe an address in it. How do you save that to Evernote? Is there like a plug-in or something, or do you have to literally copy and paste it?
Oh, that's the one of the nicest things about Evernote is I can actually just forward it right to my Evernote account.
Oh,
It's a little bit of magic in the back end, but essentially they've given me a unique email address for my Evernote account, and so I can just from my regular email I can forward something right in there, and it becomes a new note in Evernote.
yeah.
It's really a handy one of my favorite cloud services
Now,
for
what
sure.
about searching? So say, okay, I need to know where that graduation party is. Maybe you don't remember which note you put it in. Is there a global search where you could just type in graduation party and then hit search and it'll show you all the different notes that it's in?
Yeah, that is actually one of the strengths of Evernote is it has a very, very powerful internal search. And in fact, it does a search better than some computers do because it'll even search inside the content of PDFs.
Okay.
And if you ever know anything about PDFs, usually most programs are only reading the title,
Okay.
but they can't see inside the content. And with Evernote, it actually does what's called optical character recognition or OCR, and it'll do that very deep search for you.
Okay, hold that thought right there. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the apps you can use to stay organized in the cloud. We'll be right back. Now, there's a place just for you. Life can be busy, and you still have to keep it all together. That's why you like to be organized and in control. Introducing MyOrganized.life, a special place where you can get ideas and solutions to organize what's important to you, your important papers, your important decisions, your important life events. We show you the ideas and products to stay organized in your life. See what's new. Stop by and say hello. Visit us at any time at www.myorganized.life. It's just for you. MyOrganized.life by Smead. Find us at www.myorganized.life. MyOrganized.life. We're back now and keeping you organized, talking about how to stay organized in the cloud. And we've been talking about the apps that you can use to take advantage of the cloud to get organized. We're with Darla DeMoro from heartworkorg.com. Darla, let's get back into talking more about these apps that we can use. Okay, well, when we talk about getting organized, a lot of times we talk about to-do lists, which I'm sure Evernote's good at. We talk about calendars, but how about projects? Project management is a whole art in itself, and you know that as a certified professional organizer. Is Evernote the go-to for that, or is there other apps that maybe would work well for project management?
I have used Evernote for project management, but the one I'm using lately that I really like is called Asana,
Okay.
Asana. And it's a very clever project management tool. You can use it if you're just a one-person business, or you can use it for complex projects, maybe even just a hobby that you're working on. But you can also use it for business management if you have a team. And my team and I use Asana on a daily basis.
Now, how does that differ from Evernote? What's the functionality differences between it? Is it a project file plus? How does it work?
So I think Evernote adds more of sticky notes in the sky.
Okay.
So I think of Evernote as a great place to park information and then move it around or be able to search it quickly if I need it. Asana, on the other hand, lets me create projects with lots of little tasks that are embedded, and then I can go in and update the tasks, and I can end up with a board that really looks like sticky notes, specifically about this project. And then I can portion out different projects, and I can invite certain people to the projects, and they can update the task within an Asana board that I've assigned them to, but they don't have to see everything. So again, in a team like mine where I have employees who only need to see certain things, it's great. It's
Right.
perfect.
Now, how about apps for either like collaboration or file sharing? A lot of times, you might send things back and forth to people. What are some of your favorites in that arena?
Well, one of the ones that a lot of people use these days, and it's very reliable, is called Dropbox.
Okay.
And I should mention too, a lot of these apps have a free version, and then they have an optional paid version if you need it. And I did use the free version of Dropbox for a long time. I'm paying now because I need more storage,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times we're using Dropbox to move pictures or videos back and forth between clients, between myself, between my employees, and so that's a great sort of, I think of it as a parking lot.
Yes.
It's almost an external hard drive, not quite, but it's a good place to park things if I need to get them, again, from different computers, or, I have a Mac and a PC in my office, and that's just a really easy way to get things from one computer to another without having to have a network on site.
Is that a good place to back up or archive things to, or are there other apps or services that are better at like longer term? Hey, I want to save these photos. Is there a difference there?
Yeah, so Dropbox is not what I would call a dynamic or set it and forget it backup service. You can think of it as having a secondary copy of things,
Right.
but if you really want a backup of your computer, I do recommend one of two services, either Carbonite
Okay.
or Backblaze is the other one. Carbonite tends to be a little better for PC users, and Backblaze tends to be a little bit better for Mac users, but they are in fact compatible. And what they do is that's a true set it and forget it kind of backup for your PC. So you never have to push a button to say, okay, it's time to back up now, because who remembers to do that ever? Not me.
Right.
So I want Carbonite looking at my computer every day, all day, saying, okay, there's new stuff. I'm going to make a copy of it. And that way, when the computer crashes, because sadly it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when,
Mm-hmm.
I know that the last thing I did, Carbonite's already made a copy of before I could even think about it.
Right. And can you also like access, like you would on a Dropbox, can you access your Carbonite backup, say from your mobile phone? Or if you want to
Yes,
pull up a photo or something that you know is on your desktop, but it's on your phone.
Yeah, and when Carbonite first started, when it was one of the very first apps, probably 15 years ago, you couldn't do that.
Okay.
So nowadays you can. It's very exciting. It is actually a secondary drive, essentially. So if you don't have your computer with you, you can log in and pull off just one file at a time if you need it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I know we've covered a lot in this podcast. We've covered, the Evernote. We've covered Dropbox. Are there any other cloud-based uses or apps that you would recommend for any aspect of getting organized? Because that's really what we want to do. We want to help people get organized
Yes.
and use the cloud to do it.
I think there's two that we didn't mention.
Okay.
One is password management.
Oh, okay.
And so if you're tired of having passwords that are, not secure, or that they're just hard to remember, password keeper like LastPass or 1Password, something to consider. I go back and forth on whether they're absolutely essential or not. And there are some arguments against them, but they do a job of creating very secure passwords and being accessible, again, amongst many devices. And they help a lot of my clients who just don't have the bandwidth in their brain to manage all those little bits and bytes that we get with passwords. And the other one is healthcare management. So people who are managing either their entire family's health issues or chronic health issues, there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with that. And a lot of people are looking at online health maintenance or personal health records that they are starting to fill out, and we're starting to feel more secure about keeping that information in a well-managed healthcare app. Something like Footprint ID, or there's a family management app called Cozy that a lot of people use. And both of those, if you are tired of having all the paper, are good places to look to maybe secure your ongoing health records.
Well, we're just about out of time. If people want to get a hold of you to find out more about getting organized using the cloud, is that a service you provide, and how do people get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can reach us at heartworkorg.com. We are based in the Philadelphia area, but we have clients all over the country. And we do work virtually to help people understand what their technology is doing for them and how they can maximize it. And we do work with clients to help them understand what apps they have or can use or maybe need to be more productive in their day.
Awesome. Well, Darla, this has been a great episode talking about using the cloud, describing what the cloud is. We're going to have a lot of show notes on this one. So folks, make sure you go to smead.com/podcast. You know, this podcast is also hosted in the cloud. So this is another thing that can help you get organized. So Darla, we'll have you back again.
Thank you so much, John.
All right, folks, there you go. Get at it. Get into the cloud somehow. Start small. Start with one of the apps, but you can use the cloud to help you get organized. And then you can also come back next time for our next great organizing show here on Keeping You Organized.